Good morning. I'm Stephen Romo in for Joe Fryer.
And I'm Savannah Sellers. Thank you so much for joining us right now on Morning News Now. Catastrophe along a major interstate in central Illinois this morning. At least 6 people are dead and dozens more in the hospital after a dust storm sets off a 70-plus car pileup stretching 2 miles long. We'll bring you the latest from the scene, plus why rescuers say these kinds of conditions are nearly impossible to train for. Also this morning, Hollywood on hold. Thousands of screenwriters are officially on strike. Talks between the Writers Union and major TV and film studios fell through last night. Now, production for your favorite shows and movies have been put on pause.
We want a deal to be made that allows us to keep being able to make a stable living, producing the TV and the movies that make billions of dollars for these companies.
We'll have more on the standoff that led to Hollywood's first major walkout in more than 15 years and just how far apart the two sides are. Diplomas and debt for millions of American college grads. The two go hand in hand. Now we have an exclusive first look at a new report that lays out just how much debt a college degree puts you back these days. We'll break down the numbers, what students and parents should know, and the steps you can take to save. And fashion's biggest night, some of the hottest celebrities in their best and boldest looks for this year's Met Gala. We'll take you to the red carpet for some of the highlights and the controversies.
There's always a little controversy.
There's always a little controversy, and some of those looks, I'm like, you know what? Maybe that's high fashion, but it's not resonating with me. But
some of them stand out. Jared Leto in that cat costume. Hope we get more on that.
Some of them were awesome. We'll get to that a little bit later. We do begin, though, this morning with that major highway pileup. It killed 6 people in Illinois and injured another 37.
Yeah, serious stuff here. This is what it looked like on Interstate 55 after a dust storm swept through. 0 visibility conditions leading to a deadly chain reaction crash. In all, police say 72 cars were involved in that accident scene, which stretched nearly 2 miles long. NBC News correspondent Shaq Brewster is in Chicago with more on that catastrophe.
Good morning. Yes, a truly devastating scene in southern Illinois. High winds whipping up dirt from nearby farms, leading to a highway dust storm. A common occurrence, as officials have described it, but leading to deadly and rare consequences. 6 people killed, more than 30 hospitalized. Police overnight releasing the name of one of the victims, 88-year-old Shirley Harper. The governor of Illinois yesterday calling the scene horrific. And when you see these images, you get a sense of exactly why. For more than a 2-mile stretch, you see cars littered on the highways. You see SUVs flipped over, some pinned under tractor trailers. We know that at least 2 vehicles were fully engulfed in flames as first responders struggled to get to the scene. That stretch of highway this morning is still closed. It gives you a sign of the impact of this massive pileup, this unusual occurrence in terms of the impact of this dust storm. And this morning, Illinois State Police saying that there are still many people hospitalized. They say that those who are hospitalized range from ages 2 all the way up to 80 years old. They say and describe the injuries of those as both being minor and life-threatening. Guys, this is a horrific situation. We know that Illinois State Police will keep that highway closed until the Department of Transportation can come in and inspect it. But for now, you have many families grieving after this massive highway dust storm. Back to you.
Bizarre and awful situation. Shaq, thank you.
Yeah, stunning images. Well, let's turn to meteorologist Angie Lastman for the latest on that. Put this in context for us, Angie, and then give us the rest of our forecast.
Yeah, so of course that dust storm kicking up all of that dust with strong winds in that area. Now we turn our attention to parts of the Northeast where we have unsettled weather once again with a system that's kind of just stuck. It's sitting right over parts of the Great Lakes, still leaving us with plenty of moisture to tap into and, of course, some snow falling in a couple of spots. So let's get the details on how long this sticks around. It's kind of stuck in that same location because of the jet stream. So what this means is that we remain to see the scattered showers across much of the Northeast, the Mid-Atlantic, and the Great Lakes. We'll also see some of these snow showers that are kind of producing that heavy, wet, really nuisance snow in parts of Michigan and the Appalachians here over the next day or so. The rain sticks with us here as we get into tomorrow, and the winds. This low pressure system will move a little farther to the east, but the gusty conditions will still stick with us, and the potential for some heavy heavy rainfall at times stays with us too. We'll finally get a break with just some light lingering showers by the time we get to Thursday as this starts to pull away and we'll see the rain clear out. But between now and then, maybe picking up a ½ an inch widespread, but a couple of spots ending up with over an inch of rain in parts of New England. So a soggy couple of days still, not quite like what we dealt with this weekend, but still impactful nonetheless. There's the snowfall totals. Some of the higher amounts are going to be in the UP of Michigan, which is a pretty, of course, they deal with snow late into the season, but these storm totals could be up to 2 and even 3 feet, and it's kind of significant. We end up with the worst May storm since 1990, so in a couple of decades for the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. You can see those latest snowfall amounts, at least measurable snowfall on record. Detroit, May 10th, May 24th for Marquette, so we're getting there. Nonetheless, we're still going to be dealing with that cool air in place and the snowy, wintry mix here for at least another day or so. Talking about those temperatures, that jet stream that I mentioned, this is the pattern that we're seeing. So the middle of the country is going to be quite warm, well above normal for this time of year. Meanwhile, out east and out west, temperatures are below normal because of the setup of that pattern. It doesn't stop anytime soon. Even tomorrow, we'll see temperatures for Denver running 10 to 15 degrees above normal in spots, upper 70s for folks there. Meanwhile, in Nashville, 69 degrees, in Bakersfield 68 degrees, so a bit of a temperature swing, and we only kind of moderate out by the time we get into the weekend with the closer to normal temperatures across much of the east. We will continue to see temperatures into the low 70s for Kansas City, mid 70s by Friday, and then as the weekend rolls around, we'll continue those warmer than normal temperatures. And speaking of the warmer than normal temperatures, guys, the West continues to see that, and it does lead to the excessive runoff that we've been watching for those flood conditions. Not to mention, we have one more storm system that is also stuck on the West Coast and leaving us with some soggy conditions and some spotty rain showers there.
How many storm systems was that this morning?
Well, it's interesting because where the jet stream is, it just keeps them both on the coast and
my goodness.
chilly conditions.
Oh.
That omega shape.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it's called.
I'm married to a
omega block.
meteorologist. So
Excuse me.
Oh, yes, of course.
I can't take all the credit. All right.
Yes, of course.
Angie,
Of course you are. Thanks, Angie. All right, this morning we're learning more about the suspected killer in Texas who was the target of that massive ongoing manhunt. Hundreds of law enforcement personnel are scouring the greater Houston area for Francisco Oropesa for a 4th straight day. Investigators say he shot and killed 5 neighbors after he was asked not to fire his assault rifle on the front lawn. Well, leads have dwindled and police fear the trail may have gone cold. So an $80,000 reward has been issued for information leading to an arrest.
We're asking everyone for your help so we can bring this suspect, or this monster, I will call him, to justice.
For more, we're joined by NBC News Justice and Intelligence correspondent Ken Delaney. And hey, Ken, so this county ultimately covers about 700 square miles. I understand there were a few false alarms yesterday, but right now the suspect is still on the run. What do we know about the search at this point?
Good morning, Savannah. Yes, that's right. A local sheriff's office believed they had located the suspect, but that turned out not to be the case. And that same FBI agent that you just heard there said on Sunday that they really had no leads, no indications whatsoever where this suspect was, and that does not appear to have changed. So it's a really distressing situation. Of course, with this $80,000 reward, they never know when some good tip will be called in. But as of right now, that trail does appear very, very cold, Savannah.
Ken, I know we have learned a little bit more about the suspect, both his relationship with these victims, the neighbors, and also that he'd been deported a number of times. Tell us what we know right now.
Yeah, that's right. A U.S. official telling us he had been deported 4 times, going back as far back as 2009 and most recently 2016, which really is going to rekindle the debate about how porous the U.S. southern border is. And then in terms of the relationship, these families were neighbors, and we're now learning that the 9-year-old victim in this case, Daniel, tragically had ridden bikes, had actually played with one of the children of the suspect in this case. So it really paints the whole thing in an even more tragic light.
Absolutely. Also, Ken, before I let you go, I understand that there's been some critical response to the fact that the way the sheriff's office handled their response, saying it took over a half hour for deputies to arrive to get to the house. How are local officials responding to what some of these survivors in the neighborhood are saying?
Well, that's unclear, Savannah. The timeline, we haven't seen anything official on that. We've made requests for the 911 tapes. The local sheriff is saying that the call initially came in as a harassment call, so it wasn't prioritized. But the family is saying they were dialing 911 repeatedly for up to a half hour before, until finally the gunshots were being fired, and then the sheriff's deputies responded. That seems like a crucial lapse, and the notion that someone firing an AK-47 style rifle in the house next to you is considered only harassment. That's got to be something that needs to be looked at, guys.
Absolutely. Ken, thank you so much for your reporting here.
You bet.
Overnight, more than 11,000 film and television writers approved a strike after last-minute negotiations broke down between the Writers Guild of America and production companies, including our parent company, NBC Universal. The vote was overwhelming. More than 97% of the Guild approved that strike, many upset over declining pay, as well as some concerns over how artificial intelligence could be used to write scripts in the future. And at last night's Met Gala, reaction from celebrities on the red carpet was largely supportive.
Well, I hope that the writers get what they need. You know, I believe in the power of unions. I'm lucky to be a part of one with SAG, and so hopefully everybody can get what they need swiftly and everyone can get back to work.
I need my writers. I need them real bad. Yeah, I got no show without my writers.
Jennifer Moss writes about the business of TV for Variety and joins us now with more on this. Good morning, Jennifer. Thanks for being here. If you could walk us through what's at the heart of this strike. The writers saying that it's more than just pay.
Yes, it's more than pay, given the fact that so much has evolved with the streaming economy at this point. Two of the sticking points, and that apparently the studios would not budge on, are the writers want a staffing minimum size for all writers' rooms, which is something that doesn't exist right now, and then a minimum amount of time that they know they'll be working on a show. That's because the last time they had a contract negotiation, streaming wasn't really a factor, and they didn't have to worry about things like mini rooms where there could be only 3 writers staffed and required to write multiple scripts, or they would know that they were working on a season for 22 weeks because it was a broadcast show. But with streaming, it could be you're banging out scripts and then you're done after 10 weeks and you have no idea where your next paycheck's coming from. So those are the 2 big sticking points where the studio said that there was no counteroffer and they would not negotiate, and that led to ultimately why there was no deal reached. And whatever we see happen on those 2 points is likely what's going to lead to any kind of resolution.
Important background there. And so this strike will affect different types of shows in different ways. So what areas would get hit first, and who in the industry is most likely to feel this the worst?
What you're going to see immediately is late night affected first, especially because all of those hosts have already very openly, Seth Meyers in particular, talked about how much they support this. They're very, very close with their writers. Jimmy said it last night on the carpet at the Met Gala that they need their writers. So late at night, we'll go dark tonight. And then the next things that you'll see, it'll really come in pieces based on, for broadcast shows, if they haven't finished all of their episodes. FBI is still shooting this week in New York, but say Law & Order finished last week. So those episodes are done for Law & Order. FBI, if they keep shooting, they might not, but if they do, they'll have enough episodes to air. If they don't, then they have to figure out something. And you could see shortened seasons. But at this point, we're pretty close to the end of the broadcast season. Where it'll be affected more is streaming. And when they run out of episodes, or when they have shows that they haven't finished and they need to go up. The one part that won't be for quite a while is the film industry. They're probably not going to be affected till at least September. Movies are done for the summer. They're ready to go. They don't need writers for those yet, and they don't need to worry about crews trying to support writers by walking off set because their contracts prohibit them from being able to do that. They have to cross picket lines.
And this last time we saw this in 2008, that strike, it did affect TV. All these storylines that I can remember personally changed on these shows. It also had a big impact on the economy, especially in California, a $2 billion impact. And that strike in 2008 lasted about 100 days. So this could have even a larger impact on the economy. What do we know about that?
Yes, that's right. And, it's hard to tell. That's something that we're going to know more about in the coming days, but it really will matter based on how much stock that they have. And I am sure that everyone has already made long lists internally about how much do we have, how long can we keep going. And it's once we hit that we'll see. But also the broadcast networks have their upfront presentations later this month, and they have to go in front of advertisers and they have to say, look at our impressive slates we have coming up. Don't you want to buy ads from us? And that's much harder to do if there's currently a strike going on. So while we don't have immediate information about how we'll impact it, we do know last time was significant, and we'll see how long this goes on and how much it ends up taking.
We're at the very beginning of it right now. A lot more to play out. Jennifer, thanks so much.
Turning now to a dramatic day in the civil rape trial of former President Donald Trump, which saw a request from Trump's lawyer to declare a mistrial denied. Meanwhile, Trump's accuser, that's writer E. Jean Carroll, was cross-examined for yet another day. Here's NBC News correspondent Ron Allen.
E. Jean Carroll's testimony is over after a couple of days of very intense, meticulous cross-examination by former President Trump's attorneys, poring over her previous interviews, a deposition, columns she's written, books, her social media posts, trying to find inconsistencies in her account over the years of this allegation that she was raped in the dressing room of Bergdorf Goodman's, or trying to find anything that would suggest to the jury that she's not telling the truth. She acknowledged, for example, that she has returned to Bergdorf's to shop on numerous occasions, despite being attacked there, allegedly. She acknowledged that in her column, she suggested to readers calling for advice that they call the police about various matters, even though she didn't call the police. And she acknowledged a post on Facebook that she said she was a massive fan of the show, The Apprentice, that Donald Trump was hosting, even though he had allegedly attacked her before that. She said that she was trying to promote the show because a couple of her friends were appearing on it, and that she was not a fan of Donald Trump. Through it all, she said there was no doubt in her mind that she was the victim of an attack, that Donald Trump had raped her and then defamed her by calling her a liar and ruined her life. Testimony now continues, and again, we expect to hear from two women who were friends of Carroll's, who she says she told about the incident exactly right after it happened back in the mid-1990s. Those witnesses trying to bolster and corroborate aspects of her story. Ultimately, the jury must decide whether Carroll or former President Trump is telling the truth.
Ron Allen, thank you so much.
The fight to avoid a looming economic crisis is taking even more urgency this morning. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen says the deadline to extend the debt ceiling could happen as soon as June 1st, meaning that's when we could experience our first ever default. But right now, Republicans and Democrats in Washington are far apart from reaching a deal to raise the debt ceiling. NBC News White House correspondent Monica Alba joins us now with more on this. Monica, good morning. So we're now just less than a month away from that June 1st date, and we've been on the verge of this before. So it's important to focus on the serious consequences this could have, and even the uncertainty around it can have some huge implications. If you could walk us through what could happen here.
That's right, Stephen. This could really bring the financial system to the brink of collapse. It would be catastrophic, in the words of the Treasury Secretary. And the reason we're really talking about this with that sense of urgency you mentioned is because the U.S. has never before defaulted on its obligations. And some thought that there was actually going to be more time to figure this out. The fact that Secretary Yellen yesterday said June 1st is what's known as that X date, when really the U.S. can no longer pay off its obligations and its debt and would need to continue to raise the debt ceiling in order to borrow more, suggests that really this is going to be something that has to be figured out in the next couple of weeks. And now the real paths here are a little bit confusing in terms of what could happen. And the reason we have to look to the past here to see what could happen is that every time that this kind of impasse has been reached, there has been some negotiation. Bipartisan presidents of both parties have come together to figure this out, and ultimately always the debt ceiling has been raised. Now, the reason that right now it's a little bit tough is because both sides are dug in. The White House, the president saying this isn't something you can negotiate over because it's a must-do. We're not going to tie anything else to it. Whereas Republicans, who of course control the House right now, are saying we don't want to increase the debt ceiling unless there are major spending cuts. So So this continues to be a very much live ball, and that is why the president is inviting the top 4 congressional leaders to try to hash this out next week. But the calendar is just simply ticking away.
Yeah, Monica, I wanted to ask about that negotiation that could happen. A source telling NBC News that House Speaker Kevin McCarthy has accepted President Biden's invitation to meet next week to discuss the debt ceiling. What more do we know about that negotiation, and what are lawmakers saying about it?
So for weeks, the White House has said, look, we're willing to continue to talk about this, that, of course, there will be time to negotiate government funding in terms of spending that would run out later in September. But we aren't going to sit down and haggle over, again, doing something that the U.S. has never done before. So that is why the speaker and the president had spoken months ago after he had taken that new position, but they hadn't really talked about this. So Speaker McCarthy, while he was traveling internationally recently, said, look, I would like to sit down with the president. After that letter came out yesterday, it did add this new reality. And so the president called all 4 leaders, talked to them, and eventually they set this date for May 9th. So that's Tuesday, a week from today, where they are going to be meeting at the White House. And we know that Speaker McCarthy accepted that invitation. I think you can likely expect the others will as well. But lawmakers are really saying this is nothing to play around with. Here's a little bit we heard from Utah Senator Mitt Romney on the subject yesterday.
I'm frankly a little appalled that the leadership in the White House has not taken this seriously enough to sit down and negotiate in good faith and get something done on a timely basis. We're in May now, all right? We got to move. And it's simply unacceptable for people to begin to worry whether they're going to get Social Security checks.
Now, and you may think, okay, we have about a month until June 1st. That's a little bit of wiggle room. The reality is there are only a handful of legislative days where both the House and Senate will be in session at the same time. So really that window is actually way narrower, Stephen and Savannah.
Time certainly ticking down. All right, Monica, thank you.
Welcome back. We are back with the battle between Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and Disney. It is heating up this morning. DeSantis's board of supervisors that he chose to oversee Walt Disney World's operations met yesterday, and they voted to file a countersuit against Disney. So this was in response to the lawsuit that Disney filed against DeSantis and that board last week. Members of the board said Disney forced their hand.
Disney sued us. We have no choice now but to respond. This district will seek justice in state court here in Central Florida, where both it and Disney reside and do business.
So at the heart of this conflict is Disney's criticism over the controversial Parents' Rights in Education Act. That's what critics call the Don't Say Gay law. In its lawsuit, the company alleges that DeSantis and the board have been leading a campaign of political retaliation for the company's position on that law.
NBC News legal analyst Dana Savalas is here with us for a closer look at all this. Hi, Danny. Good morning. So I know this is a pretty complicated one, sort of a weird one, right? Because as we were just talking about, there's nothing like Disney, so there's no way to sort of compare this to something else. This has been going on for more than a year, though, this back and forth in terms of what we just said, what kind of each of these positions are. Disney's lawsuit makes this First Amendment case. What does the countersuit say? What's their case?
Exactly, and it's not related to the First Amendment or anything like that. This is more of like a contracts kind of corporation, something you'd find in a corporations class in law school. Here is the allegation. You have what I'll call the old board that oversaw this independent city or district or whatever you want to call Disney, because there's nothing like Disney. It's like an old mining company town where it governs itself as a corporation. And so what happened here is you had the old board that was very pro-Disney. And before the legislature of the state of Florida could appoint a new board, the old board with Disney got together, at least according to the complaint, and said, okay, before you guys leave, let's enter into a bunch of agreements that favor Disney. That way, when the new board comes in, they can't do anything about it. Well, the new board comes in and says, hey, what's with all these agreements that benefit Disney and vest in Disney, not the governing board, all this power to govern itself? So now the new board says, well, the only way to dissolve these agreements is go to court and say that these agreements were beyond the scope, beyond the power of these two parties to enter into. So you have a very confusing thing in that the old board is essentially suing or excuse me, the new board is suing for what the old board did with Disney. Super complicated stuff, but actually nothing constitutional about this new lawsuit at all.
Fascinating. So we've got the lawsuit, we've got the countersuit. What happens next? What goes on in the courtroom?
Now you have something that courts hate, and that is two separate lawsuits in two different courts, two different kinds of courts, federal and state court, proceeding independently. If the courts could do it, they would consolidate them, but you can't do that when you have two different courts, federal and state. So these cases will probably go on independently and create a big mess. Fortunately, like I said earlier, the constitutional issues in the first lawsuit by Disney are not really the same as the contractual or corporation issues in the second lawsuit. But make no mistake about it, excuse me, it creates a procedural quandary.
All right, we've only got a few seconds left, but I'm just wondering, are you surprised just with the moneymaker that this is for the state of Florida to see it get to this level, to see it be suing and countersuing?
This whole thing can be boiled down to two gunslingers standing in a dusty road staring each other down
and
because
one's a mouse.
Neither one's exactly right. I think there was Black Bart I'm going way back. You kids don't remember Black. He was one of the characters in the early Disney cartoons. But nobody wants to pull the gun and fire because Disney makes Florida a ton of money. This is a bad idea. Now, could Disney honestly pick up roots and move to, say, South Carolina, as Nikki Haley has invited them to? No, they couldn't. I mean, if you've been to Magic Kingdom, it's not something you would throw on the back of a trailer. It's not a carnival that you could just ride on up to South Carolina. They're staying. They're not going anywhere. Florida needs them. They need to work this out. They need a mediator, and that's why they need you, Savannah. You've got to go mediate this drama. Take a trip, take some leave, go down there and solve this.
Again to go. Yeah, exactly. I will be the hero for families everywhere. Yeah. All right, Tammy, thank you.
All right, now to another balloon mystery in U.S. skies. NBC News has learned that the U.S. military is tracking another balloon that passed over American soil. According to government officials, that balloon flew over parts of Hawaii, but did not go over any sensitive areas. The officials said the balloon does not pose any threat to national security or aerial traffic. While it's unclear what the balloon is, officials say they're working to identify its owner. But important to note, they do not believe that it belongs to China.
Definitely important to know. Well, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy says he expects President Biden to invite Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu for a visit to the White House. The president has held off inviting Netanyahu since he was elected to lead a far-right government 5 months ago. NBC News foreign correspondent Raf Sanchez joins us now from Tel Aviv with more on this. Hey, Raf. So first off, remind us why the Biden administration has so far not invited the Israeli Prime Minister to the White House, especially with America's historical relationship with Israel. What is it that's happened here, and why is it seen as unprecedented?
Hey, Savannah. Yeah, this is a really unusual situation. It is normally not hard for an Israeli prime minister to get themselves invited to the White House. You would expect it to happen within a couple of months at most of an Israeli prime minister taking office, but it hasn't happened this time. That is partly because of these long-running tensions we have seen between the Biden administration and Netanyahu's new far-right government. The White House has been openly critical of some of the more extreme members of Netanyahu's cabinet, especially the violent rhetoric that they have used towards Palestinians. And then there's been this whole issue of Netanyahu's proposed judicial overhaul, this plan to weaken the Israeli Supreme Court. It's a plan that's got Israelis out on the streets in their hundreds of thousands, and it's something that's caused a lot of concern back in the White House, Savannah.
And Raf, what exactly did Speaker McCarthy say about this possible invitation? What's the reaction been like from the White House to his comments? How real is this?
Yeah, so he initially told a right-wing Israeli newspaper effectively that if President Biden didn't hurry up and invite Netanyahu to the White House, he was going to go ahead and invite the Israeli prime minister to the other end of Pennsylvania Avenue to speak in Congress. Now, McCarthy held a press conference yesterday. He seemed to soften that a little bit, saying he did expect that an invitation would come from Biden eventually. I want you to take a listen to a little bit of what he had to say.
I had a great meeting with the Prime Minister. I think the President will make sure, just as this close relationship, I know we've had a lot of different leaders coming to America. I expect the White House to invite the Prime Minister over for a meeting, especially with the 75th anniversary. I know the President Herzog will be coming soon for a joint session.
Now, the White House was asked about this yesterday. They said they still have no plans to invite Netanyahu to the White House, not ruling it out, but saying no plans at this point. They also said that they don't really have a problem with McCarthy extending an invite, but we'll see if that invitation actually materializes, guys.
Absolutely interesting there. All right, Raph, as you were just breaking down for us, I mean, this comes amid this controversial plans to overhaul Israel's judicial system, something we saw major protests in the country over. Where do things stand with that at this point? Has any progress been made over a compromise?
It is a really good question, Savannah, and only Netanyahu really knows the answer. Back in March, he announced he was pausing this judicial overhaul in the face of those huge protests. He said that he would pass it in some form by the end of the summer, but it's really not clear at this point what's going on. His party is negotiating with the Israeli opposition parties. They're trying to thrash out some kind of compromise. Those talks are happening in secret, so no one really knows at this point where things stand. Savannah.
All right. Raph Sanchez, thank you very much.
We're back now with the latest on a topic we've been closely following. Yesterday, a Missouri judge temporarily blocked a sweeping rule by the state's attorney general to restrict access to gender-affirming care for children and adults. It's part of a larger battle playing out across the country with more than 100 anti-LGBTQ bills proposed in several states. While many of them are aimed at restricting gender-affirming care for trans children and trans rights supporters, though, they're warning there's a growing effort to limit access for adults at the same time. NBC News correspondent Shaq Brewster has more.
It's care that could mean the difference between life and death.
I don't think life-saving is an exaggeration at all.
Those are life-saving. It's life-saving care.
35-year-old Errol Royston lives in St. Louis. He says he's been on testosterone for 8 years now. When he heard about an emergency order filed by Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey, he says he felt like it was an attack on trans people.
So my mind is trying to comprehend all of it. So the first part was anger. The second part was just how do I help my community? Then thirdly, it was what am I going to do?
Legal experts say Bailey's order, if put in place, will be the first of its kind restricting access to gender-affirming care for all trans people in the state, including adults.
No government official or legislature in the United States has gone as far as trying to stop adults from accessing care.
Requiring those seeking gender-affirming care in Missouri to meet a list of criteria before getting treatment. It includes 15 one-hour-long therapy sessions over the course of at least 18 months and having any mental health issues treated and resolved. The rule excludes people who are currently getting treatments as long as they and their doctors comply with the new rules.
When human rights are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back!
In a statement to NBC News, the Missouri Attorney General's office said in part, "We will continue fighting for all patients to have access to adequate health care." Across the country, legislation limiting or banning gender-affirming care has largely centered around children, with at least 12 states passing laws this year. But rights groups worry efforts are now moving beyond minors and increasingly on patients over 18.
There is a concerted effort here to erase trans people from public life. His rule would go into the doctor's offices of adults and interfere with the ability of adults and their doctors to make medical decisions.
These 7 states have bans on Medicaid coverage for gender-affirming care. And in at least 5 states, Republican lawmakers have introduced bills to limit access to gender care for minors and young adults, in some cases for people as old as 26. But studies have shown that transition care can be life-changing for trans adults. According to research published by the NIH, gender-affirming hormone therapy had a positive psychological, physical, and social impact on transgender individuals.
The biggest farce is identifying the treatment as experimental. We're not looking at true outcomes. Reduced suicide, reduced anxiety, reduced depression. Those are life-saving.
For Royston, having the access to his treatments has made all the difference.
If I was not able to get that care to be who I am today, I probably wouldn't be here. If I could have transitioned early in life, there's no telling where I'd be now. I'd be rich somewhere because I'd have nothing holding me back.
Our thanks to Shaq Brewster for that report. The judge is scheduled to hear arguments next week as she considers whether to allow the rules to take effect later this month.
It's time for our weekly mental health check-in. We love this segment, and we're taking a closer look at what's called trauma-informed therapy. We've got more on that and who can get it.
Plus, if you need extra motivation to pick up a good book, we have research that shows how it could help your mental health.
Love that. Let's bring in Dr. Erica Richards for more on these headlines. She's the chair of psychiatry at Sibley Memorial Hospital and an assistant professor of psychiatry at Johns Hopkins Medicine. Dr. Richards, always good to see you. Thanks for joining us today. So let's start with this trauma-informed therapy. It's an approach that seems to be spreading outside of the psychology community, but what exactly does that mean, trauma-informed therapy? How's it work, and when is it good for someone?
Good morning, Savannah. So trauma-informed therapy really assumes that every person, any person we come in contact with, might have a history of trauma. And it encourages, in this case, healthcare providers to take steps that minimize triggers, that minimize things that may promote ongoing harm to these patients. Now, I talk about healthcare because this was originally a framework in the healthcare setting, but now it's expanded. It's expanded to education. It's expanded to law enforcement settings where we really do try to understand the life experiences of others and then deliver effective care in that stead. The reason that this is really important is because it really has the potential to improve patient engagement, to increase treatment adherence, and ultimately to improve healthcare outcomes across the board.
And Dr. Richards, this next one's for the bookworms out there. Studies show that reading can actually improve our overall mental health, and one way to benefit more from reading is by reading and actually reflecting, an important part here. So I was wondering, how does slowing down your reading, how does that help our brains process this, and what are the other benefits of picking up a good book?
This is great advice, and really it comes down to what can we all do to continue to promote self-care. And this is an ongoing discussion where they'll ask mental health experts, name something, give us an idea about what we can do. And in this case, it's not only reading, but it's a combined reading and journaling. The thought being that reading, some people enjoy reading, some people enjoy journaling, but combining these two really helps make you more intentional about taking this time for yourself. So while some people will flip pages and kind of just want to get through that book and check that box and move on, the thought is, well, get through what you're reading today, but take time, reflect, enjoy, immerse yourself in that so that you can then move forward. Now, the best advice I thought was on here as well is that you don't have to finish a book. Some people will find it a chore to read once they realize that they might not be as into that book as they thought. But the experts also say it's okay to put that down and start something else.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Love that. I do that all the time.
Me too. Yeah, I can't help it.
Yeah, I'm part of a book club, and so I think, we do the little discussion post, and it's fun. Yeah, it does. It's a great time. Dr. Richards, finally, also something on TikTok. We love to ask about these things we see online. It is addressing, I think the idea here is how to sort of process grief, but the idea is using this hashtag, let's not rot. Kind of provocative there. Walk us through this and tell us some steps that maybe we could all learn from whatever this hashtag is.
It's a great movement, and I think the important thing, as a psychiatrist, I want to go on record to remind people that grief is not depression. Grief is a normal reaction to loss. And this TikTok movement is really saying, how can we talk about grief? How can we support each other through our grief? And the Let's Not Rot hashtag is saying, let's make the most of the life that we have to live, especially because it's important to honor our loved ones that we have lost. And it really emphasizes doing small things. I mean, making coffee, for example, whereas people that aren't grieving might not have an issue doing these things, but it's a reminder to those who are that these small steps, these small things that you can do will really help you through that grieving process. And talking about it, of course, is one of the most important things.
Oh, grief is isolating and complicated, so I'm so glad more people are talking about that.
Yeah, and it's good to see. I mean, I like what you said about that video, just like kind of getting ready and that type of thing. It might look like your normal TikTok video, but pointing out that that's a real step to get yourself up, get ready and stuff when you're going through that, and good to see other people doing it too. Dr. Erica Richards, thank you so much. Always good to have you. Welcome back. We're going to talk about the massive cost of going to college. And this morning, we have an exclusive look at one report showing just how much debt students may be facing. A new report out this morning by NerdWallet shows the high school class of 2023 is facing a little more than $37,000 in student loan debt just to get that college degree.
Yeah, for more, we're joined by a data analyst at NerdWallet, Elizabeth Renter. Elizabeth, thanks so much for joining us. I was surprised to hear this. After adjusting for inflation, college costs have actually declined in recent years, but it doesn't look like that's making much of a difference in student loan debt. What should students and parents consider when they're looking at all these costs?
Hey, good morning. Well, you're right. A small improvement in 1 year is merely a drop in the bucket when we're talking about costs this high. One thing that I would recommend for parents and their prospective college student children is that when they're looking at colleges and comparing costs, don't just pay attention to tuition and fees. I think that's a common trap we get into, but that's only a fraction of what you're going to spend money on. What you need to look out for is the cost of attendance, because that includes things like room and board, which are a big portion of the expenses of going to school. It'll also include some personal expenses. And if you're comparing costs on college websites, keep an eye out for their net price calculator. That will also allow you to estimate the financial aid you might qualify for that can help keep those costs down.
So I want to dive in on some of the numbers, maybe for people who haven't been in school for a while or paid off loans a long time ago or didn't have this, just to kind of put some context here. So the maximum amount in federal student loans that students can get is $31,000. If they are on a 10-year repayment plan, oftentimes what people do, they're looking at monthly payments of nearly $400. You see it on your screen there, $387 a month. And then at the end of it all, they're going to end up paying more than $46,000. That's a lot of money, ultimately, especially when you think about, you know, the whole purpose of, for the most part, going to school. We used to think about it anyway as to get a job and to try to get a salary and to not have to pay almost $50,000. Is there anything that somebody can do to try to avoid having this, to try to lessen that? I mean, just like, what are some of the little nuances here that can help with paying that off?
Sure. Well, that biggest number you talked about there assumes the current interest rate, which is 4.99% for undergraduates receiving federal student loans. It also assumes their loans are unsubsidized. So an important difference there is unsubsidized loans means your loans are accruing interest while you're in school. Some people are going to qualify for subsidized loans, and that's based off their family income. With subsidized loans, the federal government is covering your interest costs while you're in school. So how do you know which one you'll qualify for? That's one of the many things that's determined from your federal application for student aid, your FAFSA. So it's important that students and their parents fill that out early and every year. That will also qualify you for grants and scholarships and a real plethora of different types of financial aid that can help cut down on the costs you ultimately have to borrow.
Oh, that FAFSA, I remember that.
Oh, yeah, brutal. So much information. Elizabeth, I only have a few seconds left here, but wanted to ask you about grants. They can be super helpful as well. What should we know about them?
Yeah, grants are awesome. Grants are free money, right? Like scholarships. You don't have to pay them back. The largest source of federal grant aid, known as the Pell, unfortunately hasn't kept up with the rising cost of college over the past 20 years. However, institutional grants have picked up some of the slack. So grants that come directly from the college or university can help cover the cost of college. Also, scholarships, I mentioned, another source of free money. High school graduates are often coached through applying for scholarships, but they need to keep in mind that they should be doing that every year that they're in college.
I would not have been able to attend college without a Pell Grant. Very important information. All right, Elizabeth Renter, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, let's get to some financial headlines this morning, starting with Vice Media now reportedly preparing to file for bankruptcy.
Yeah, CNBC's Silvana Henao joins us with that and more. Good morning, Silvana.
Stephen, Savannah, good morning to you. That's right. So Vice Media is preparing to file for bankruptcy. The New York Times and Wall Street Journal report the struggling company could file for Chapter 11 in the coming weeks, although it is also seeking a buyer, and at least 5 companies have expressed interest, but chances of a sale are slim. In February, Vice secured a loan to alleviate its cash crunch, and last week it announced layoffs and an overhaul of its news operations. Morgan Stanley is planning to cut about 3,000 jobs this quarter, according to sources. Now, this would be the bank's second round of job cuts in 6 months. The move comes amid a slowdown in deal making and a tough economic environment. Morgan Stanley had more than 82,000 employees worldwide as of the end of March. And the godfather of AI has left the building. Geoffrey Hinton, one of the pioneers of artificial intelligence, resigned from his executive role at Google last month so that he can freely warn about the risks associated with the technology. Hinton is concerned Google is giving up its previous restraint on releasing AI-based apps to the public in a bid to compete with ChatGPT. He's also worried that generative AI programs could lead to a wave of misinformation and outright replace some jobs, guys.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Stark warning there. So
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Wow, I'm happy you had that in there. That's really important. Silvana, thank you so much.
Got it.
We're back now talking all about last night's Met Gala, starting off with tennis legend Serena Williams, who served both a look and quite the big surprise. She is pregnant with baby number 2. Just last year, the 23-time Grand Slam champion spoke with Vogue about her hopes to expand her family, and she's doing just that. Shared some photos on Instagram as well with the caption, quote, "Was so excited when Anna Wintour invited the 3 of us to the Met Gala." What a way to announce it. Congrats.
Yeah, it's awesome. Carly Kloss also did the same.
Yeah.
Came out. She's pregnant with her second baby as well.
Congrats.
Well, while all these baby bumps might have had some of the biggest moments at the Met Gala last night, there were a few other close seconds.
Yeah, the red carpet was ablaze with not just Hollywood's biggest names, but notable athletes, politicians, as well as designers.
That's right. New York Times fashion director and chief fashion critic Vanessa Friedman joins us now to break down the night. Hey, Vanessa, good morning. This is a fun one. So tell us, what were some of the more notable looks this year?
Morning. Well, you got to start with the cats.
Yeah, right?
the odes to Karl Lagerfeld's Berman, complete with Jared Leto in full cat outfit, right? Doja Cat in Oscar de la Renta pearls and facial prosthetics.
Mm-hmm.
Even Lil Nas X, who did a sort of silver cat. Silver naked cat.
Yeah.
Yeah, can't leave out that detail. You mentioned Karl Lagerfeld. No, not at all. You mentioned Karl Lagerfeld, the theme honoring the late designer. There was some controversy, though, behind that decision. What do we know about that?
I mean, Karl had a 65-year career, and over that career, he was given to a lot of statements that were sometimes witty and sometimes seriously offensive, particularly from the viewpoint of now. You know, he said things that were fat-phobic, Islamophobic, racist, anti-Semitic. You know, he was a complicated person. And there are a lot of people, I think, who felt that those stances, you know, overshadowed some of his contributions to fashion.
Tell us also, before we kind of get into talking about some of the charity behind the event, about besides the cats, I know we've got, there were quite, which by the way, you said that at the top, that was some of your favorites.
Hard
Amazing.
to forget.
Jared Leto's especially, I was just like, you have no idea who's in there. Tell us about some of the other big looks, things that were some of your favorites.
It was really, you know, the theme of the night was in honor of Karl, and I think you saw that in almost every look, whether it was the black and white that he was so given to, or the accessories. People wore shades, they wore fingerless gloves, they carried fans. You know, a lot of the men dressed in black suits, white, high-collared white shirts, ties with tie pins. There were pearls to reference, you know, all the different Chanel iconography that he was so famous for playing with, camellias, and then all these vintage dresses like the one on Dua Lipa, which was actually Chanel from '92. Nicole Kidman wore the dress that she wore actually when she was in her Chanel ad in 2004. Penelope Cruz, also vintage Chanel. So I think you really saw all the guests trying to honor the designer in different ways.
Absolutely.
Yeah, of course, this night is about the fashion, but also there's more meaning behind it. Talk to us about that.
The truly extraordinary thing about the Costume Institute is that it is the only curatorial department in the Metropolitan Museum of Art that actually has to pay for itself. Right? This was part of the deal when the Costume Institute became part of the museum back in the 40s. And so this evening essentially raises almost all the money for the department for the year. And it is an extraordinary fundraising opportunity. What Anna Wintour has done, you know, in terms of using this to support the department, you know, was once called by the publicist Paul Wilmot the ATM for the Met. Last year, it raised over $17 million. Wow. And that is quantum difference from most New York charitable institution fundraising evenings.
I love that, the ATM for the Met. Vanessa Friedman, thank you so much. Great to have you on.
Nice to talk to you.
And that does it for this hour of Morning News Now.
But the news continues right now. Stay with us. Good morning. Thank you for joining us on this Tuesday. I'm Savannah Sellers.
And I'm Stephen Romo, in for Joe Fryer. Right now on Morning News Now, on the loose. This morning, we're learning more about the man who's the target of a massive manhunt in Texas. Hundreds of law enforcement officers are starting a fourth day looking for this man, Francisco Oropesa. He's suspected of murdering 5 people in their home with an AR-15 after he was asked to quiet down. The chilling new information we're learning this morning about his past and what we know about the police response to this massacre. This morning, we're also following the aftermath of a deadly dust storm in Illinois. At least 6 people were killed in that chain reaction crash on a highway, leaving dozens more injured. The blinding storm swept across the interstate, causing more than 70 vehicles to collide. The devastating new images as emergency crews work to identify the victims and reopen that highway this morning. Also this morning, pens down. Screenwriters in Hollywood and beyond are on strike after contract negotiations reached a reported stalemate overnight. We'll have more on what this means for your favorite shows as networks and production studios grind to a halt. And a red carpet romp at last night's Met Gala here in New York City. We'll bring you all the ferocious looks and larger-than-life wardrobes, paying tribute to late designer Karl Lagerfeld.
Ferocious, huh?
Ferocious, get it? So many cats involved last night. A lot to get to, though. We do want to begin this morning in Texas, where a suspected killer is still on the run.
Hundreds of law enforcement officials across the state are trying to track the man accused of murdering 5 people in their home. But right now, investigators say they have very few leads. NBC News correspondent Sam Brock is in Cleveland, Texas, with the very latest.
In Cleveland, Texas, a thick fog sits over the area as investigators right now are entering the 4th day of a search for a murder suspect whose face is on wanted billboards like that all over this region, with some 700 square miles of area just in his county to canvass. That is, we're learning more right now about the father of that murdered 9-year-old boy who says that he contacted police 5 times in 20 minutes, waiting for aid that came after the massacre. For a community desperate for answers, there aren't many so far. Despite dogs roaming the streets and police canvassing neighborhoods, there's been no sign of Francisco Oropesa, the man wanted for 5 murders, who police say erupted into violence when asked by neighbors not to fire his assault rifle on the front lawn.
It's truly just unexpected.
On Monday, a few false alarms, reports of spottings that turned into nothing as neighbors try to manage their terror. Teresa Morris heard shots from her daughter's house right down the street that Friday night, but had no idea the depth of violence unfolding.
Has it sunk in that you were witness to this sort of gunfire?
That's what sort of, get a little emotional thinking about it. I was here when that happened. And I didn't do anything, but I didn't know. You know, I mean, what could I have done?
The tears for so many coming with major revelations about the massacre. Wilson Garcia, whose son and wife were both murdered, told NBC News that he called police late Friday night after their neighbor refused to stop shooting a gun outside and threatened them. Garcia telling our Priscilla Thompson that he and his family called police 5 times in about 20 minutes. He says the neighbor turned up at the house and began shooting. Officials with San Jacinto County haven't responded yet to our requests about how many calls were made or how long it took officers to arrive, but they did tell NBC News they have 10 days to respond to our requests for answers. Then there's ICE's confirmation that Oropesa had been deported 4 times between 2009 and 2016. But the community now just focusing on the pain.
Could have been us, you know? I mean, it's scary. It's scary. And I think it's starting to sink in. Thank God it wasn't my family.
In other developments, Wilson Garcia says that his wife got along really well with the murder suspect's wife, and that at one point Oropesa actually came to their house to help them cut down a tree. The night of the murder, he says that they both saw the man walking to their house with a loaded weapon, and his wife said, "You go on inside, I'll stay outside and confront him because there is no way he would ever shoot a woman." And heartbreakingly, that proved to be wrong. In Cleveland, Sam Brock, NBC News. Back to you.
Sam, you're right. Heartbreaking. Thank you so much.
All right, turning now to Illinois, where a major dust storm brought Interstate 55 to a standstill. Nearly 80 vehicles were involved in a pileup that stretched almost 2 miles long. 6 people were killed and dozens more were injured in this. NBC News correspondent Shaq Brewster joins us now from Chicago with the details on this tragic accident. Shaq, good morning.
Good morning. And the state confirming just in the past few minutes that stretch of highway, which is about 3.5 hours south of Chicago, has just been reopened. It's a sign of the magnitude and scale of this pileup that officials say stemmed from a regular, common occurrence, but this dust storm having deadly and unintended consequences.
Oh my God! Oh Jesus! Oh my God! Oh my God! It's right there in front of us. I see. Oh, my God.
A blinding dust storm along Interstate 55 in rural Illinois causing a deadly pileup.
There are multiple injuries, multiple vehicles.
Authorities say excessive winds blew around dirt from nearby farm fields, leading to zero visibility on the roadway.
The crash has occurred within a 2-mile stretch from roughly milepost 76 to milepost 78.
The terrifying ordeal happened in an instant, killing 6 people and injuring more than 30. Overnight, state police identifying one victim, 88-year-old Shirley Harper, and releasing these new images confirming more than 70 vehicles were involved in the crash.
There's another ambulance in front of us.
The wild dust storm leaving behind an apocalyptic scene. Vehicles flipped over, others completely smashed. Tractor trailers engulfed in flames.
Oh, God. Still blowing up.
Over 30 agencies responded.
This is a difficult scene, something that is very hard to train for, something that we really haven't experienced locally.
Officials say these kinds of dust storms are not uncommon, but the number of vehicles and casualties is very unusual.
I got lucky. I didn't get crushed. I could have been.
Nathan Cormier was able to drive away safely before getting out to help others.
I pulled off to the left side here and got out, started going to different cars and make sure, because there was cars all over the median and on the other side of the road, everywhere.
In a statement, Illinois' governor calling the fatal scene horrific.
My heart goes out to anybody that found themselves involved in this particular situation. My heart goes out to them.
Those pictures are really just so striking. State police say that at least one person was airlifted from the scene. Out of those who were transported to the hospital, their ages range from 2 all the way up to 80, and their conditions are described as everything from minor through life-threatening. Guys?
Shocking, all because of dust. Shaq, thank you.
These images are just wild. Let's get a check on this with your morning news now. Weather, it might be spring, but might not feel like it in a lot of the country, including on the West Coast.
Meteorologist Angie Lastman. Hey, Angie.
Hey, guys. It's really the bookends of the country, right, that are dealing with the cooler than normal temperatures. Not so spring-like in a lot of places along the West Coast and the East Coast. In the middle of the country, a much different story. 73 degrees in Denver today, so it'll feel really nice. It'll be a bit of a day where you get to enjoy some sunshine. But on the eastern half of the country, 53 for Cincinnati. We're running 19 degrees below normal. Reno, 16 degrees below normal, and only going to hit a high of 54 degrees today. How about tomorrow? Well, it doesn't get a whole lot, different here for us on the eastern half of the country and the western half of the country, where we see these temperatures still hanging on to the low 80s into the Dakotas, upper 70s for Denver, but barely making it out of the 60s for Bakersfield and ending up into the high 60s into the afternoon hours. Now, as we transition into the end of the week and into the early parts of the weekend, things will kind of moderate out. Not bad for 68 degrees in Chicago by Saturday. Kansas City ends up into the mid-70s, and Raleigh ends up into the mid-70s by the time Friday rolls around. But as we, of course, look to those warmer parts of the country, it is feeling like spring in some ways, and that comes in the form of pollen. We have those high pollen levels up for really parts of the Rockies, extending all the way into the mid-Atlantic, where you see the oranges, where you see the reds. That's medium high to high, so just be prepared. If you're somebody that suffers from allergies in those locations, it's going to be a little bit tricky through the day today. Meanwhile, the warmer temperatures are causing excessive runoff from all of that snow melt Well, remember the record snowpack that we received out west? Well, in places like Idaho and into Nevada and out and towards the Rockies, we're seeing all of that snow melting and causing some runoff into the stream. So we will continue to see those flooding concerns in those areas through the day today, hence the reason for the flood watches in effect. Meanwhile, out west, we do have another area of low pressure that we're watching. It's bringing some spotty rain chances. Wind gusts that will be elevated as well, up to 50 miles per hour. And it's not just a today problem for California. Really, it brings some of those showers in all the way into the day tomorrow. By the time Thursday rolls around, we'll have still some lingering snow showers and some lingering rain showers. And that does include Southern California, where they will pick up on some additional rainfall through the next couple of days, totaling about 1/4 of an inch for most people, maybe a little bit more along the coast into the northern portions of California. But into the Sierra Nevada, that's where we're dealing with the potential for another 4 to 8 inches possible. Meanwhile, on the East Coast, and specifically the Northeast and the Midwest, that's where we're continuing to see rain thanks to a system that is stuck. It's all part of this same kind of pattern with our jet stream that has left the West Coast dealing with that system stalled out just off the coast. And this low pressure system stalled out here as we continue to be watching it sitting just over parts of the Great Lakes. That's where we see that upper level low producing still the scattered showers and the heavy snow, the wet snow, and the rain, at least through tomorrow. By Thursday, guys, don't worry. I know we're all sick of the rain. Is that what you're going to say to me?
You know it.
Yeah,
I'm a complainer.
It's okay. By Thursday, we'll get a little bit of a break from it. It'll be nice.
God, it's just so much rain this weekend.
Much.
We
You know what
needed
I
it,
love?
though. We needed it.
I love it in New York City, though. People just appear selling umbrellas out of nowhere. People just pop up out of nowhere.
I bought one.
Yeah, me too. They've got great business just walking by every time. Love it. All right, Angie.
Thanks, Angie. Well, now let's go to Washington in the battle over the debt ceiling. The deadline to do something and avoid a default is looming less than a month from now. Well, new this morning, a source familiar with the call between House Speaker Kevin McCarthy and President Biden says McCarthy has accepted an invitation to a White House meeting on this next week. NBC News Chief White House correspondent Peter Alexander joins us on this with the latest. Hey, Peter, good morning. So what can we expect here? There's obviously still some hurdles they're going to have to get over in order to reach a deal. So what do we think can come of this meeting on May 9th?
Yes, Savannah, so as you just noted, we've got now 30 days from that deadline for a possible default. That's according to the Treasury Secretary. And I think that really amped up the urgency here for a deal with the threat of an economic catastrophe looming. The president, as you noted on Monday, invited all 4 congressional leaders to the White House for a meeting that will take place on May 9th. That's exactly a week from today. And the House Speaker, Kevin McCarthy, we learned this morning, has accepted this invite. But what's been striking so far is that even with the Treasury Secretary making that announcement of June 1st as the sort of deadline date, both sides really have hardened their positions. President Biden vowing not to negotiate over paying the country's bills, remember, that have already been incurred. He notes that Republicans voted to raise the debt limit without conditions 3 separate times under former President Trump. Republicans, for their part, they are demanding spending cuts, and really they're taking aim at a lot of the president's legislative priorities. They say there need to be those spending cuts before they will agree to raise the debt limit. Savannah.
Hey, Peter, also, before I let you go, I do want to ask you about, another piece of financial news, I suppose, but that really impacts people at home if they're concerned about this. So obviously we saw this sale this week of First Republic Bank. Been a lot of headlines about bank collapses. Americans worried it could lead to more uncertainty, not sure if their money is safe. I know we did hear from the president from the White House on this and navigating it, hoping to prevent this again. What do we know?
Well, you got the FDIC stepping in, J.P. Morgan Chase ultimately purchasing First Republic Bank here. The president has used this as another example to try to reassure Americans that the nation's banking system is safe and sound. He made clear that the plan is going to protect First Republic customers. It'll also ensure taxpayers, he says, to make sure that they are not left on the hook. The president, though, he is calling on Congress. He wants them to step up regulations of large and regional banks to try to avoid this whole situation from repeating itself. But there is a real concern, Savannah, importantly here, about the health of some of these regional banks that have faced challenges with interest rates rising. We're going to be watching this very closely over the course of the next several days and weeks, Savannah.
Absolutely. Peter Alexander from the White House for us. Thank you so much.
All right, to Hollywood now, where the union that bargains on behalf of screenwriters has called a strike. The news comes after contract negotiations failed with major studios, and now members of the Writers Guild of America may be headed to the picket lines as soon as this afternoon. NBC News national correspondent Miguel Almaguer joins us now with the latest on this. A lot of people watching this one, Miguel.
Yeah, absolutely, Stephen. Good morning. Overnight, Hollywood got the ending that many feared. More than 11,000 film and television writers will be on the picket line in a matter of hours. Now, the impact of the strike could be long-lasting for everyone in the industry and for viewers at home.
Camera set.
Overnight, the Hollywood ending many feared. The Writers Guild calling a strike after negotiators were unable to reach a deal with the studios and streamers, saying, for the sake of our present and our future, we have been given no other choice. On the Met Gala carpet, Tinseltown A-listers voicing support.
I think it'll affect all of us. It'll affect every part of the industry and people beyond the industry.
Writers like Cody Blue Snyder says many of his colleagues are making less than they did a decade ago because of how streaming has changed the industry.
We're asking for just a livable wage and for our jobs to be protected and for us to make residuals on the content we're creating.
So how will this impact you at home? That depends on how long the shutdown lasts. The 2007-2008 strike, which lasted 100 days, put some shows on hold for up to 4 months.
The first thing that viewers at home will notice that their favorite late night shows will go into reruns.
Hosts like Seth Meyers, who's also a writer, voicing support for the union.
I also feel very strongly that what the writers are asking for is not unreasonable.
Daytime soap operas will also run out of scripts, and it might not end there.
If this lasts a couple months, we'll start to see the impact on the fall TV schedule, and some movies will have to be pushed back.
In the unlikely event a strike lasts more than 6 months, analysts say even next year's summer blockbusters could be affected. The Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers says it presented a comprehensive package proposal to the Guild last night, which included generous increases in compensation for writers, as well as improvements in streaming residuals. But this morning, no deal, as a high-stakes showdown comes at a pivotal moment for Hollywood.
When talks broke down overnight, it was unclear just how close or far apart both sides were. Today, we're still not certain when negotiators will return to the table. One thing both sides want, a quick agreement. Stephen.
All right, still at the very beginning of this. Miguel, thank you.
Well, now for the latest on Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich, who remains detained in Russia on allegations of spying. Charges he and the U.S. government deny, while friends and colleagues have set up a letter-writing initiative aimed at boosting his spirits while in jail. NBC News Chief Foreign Correspondent Richard Engel has more on the campaign.
Evan Gershkovich and his newspaper adamantly deny that he was spying in Russia. But these are serious charges, and if convicted, he faces up to 20 years in prison.
Wall Street Journal correspondent Evan Gershkovich, last seen in court, is the first American journalist detained in Russia on spying charges since the Cold War. And he's being held at Moscow's notorious Lefortovo prison, where colleagues say he shares a cell with another inmate, is given 1 hour a day to walk in a narrow yard, and is reading War and Peace to pass the time. But Gershkovich can receive mail, old-fashioned letters, provided according to prison regulations. They're in Russian, so censors can read them, and mailed from inside Russia. So his colleagues have set up a letter-writing campaign to keep his spirits up. Polina Ivanova, a friend who worked in Russia for the Financial Times, is one of the organizers.
One of the best ways to support him is to make sure that he knows that he is the center of everybody's attention worldwide right now. And the way that we're doing that is getting him letters. The first reply that he sent us to his group of friends, he spoke about how important these letters are for him.
It works like this. Supporters write in emails, which a team translates into Russian. Then a group of volunteers in Russia, who preferred not to show their faces, take the letters, stuff the envelopes, drive them to the post office, and mail them to the prison. Through a lawyer, Gershkovich said, "I am humbled and deeply touched by all the letters I received. I've read each one carefully, with gratitude." The U.S. State Department has formally designated Gershkovich as wrongfully detained, more like a hostage than a prisoner. President Biden delivering a message to his family this weekend.
We all stand with you. Evan went to report in Russia to shed light
on the darkness that you all escaped from years ago.
At the Wall Street Journal's London office, Gershkovich's boss says he's a victim of plummeting relations between Russia and the United States after Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
He was a journalist who was doing his job, and journalism should not be a crime.
Russian journalists and other political prisoners held at Lefortovo prison describe feeling completely alone. The monotony only broken by reading and the joy of mail.
For those who want to write Evan a letter, an email has been set up, freegershkovich@gmail.com, and there's more information on our website, NBCnews.com. Richard Engel, NBC News, Paris.
We are back with the latest on the preparations for this week's, I can't believe it's already this week's coronation of Britain's King Charles.
Yeah, but before Saturday's landmark crowning, there's one other event for the royal family to celebrate. NBC News foreign correspondent Molly Hunter joins us now from London with more on that. Good morning, Molly.
Hey guys, good morning to both of you from a gorgeous day at Buckingham Palace. That's right, all the focus seems to be on Saturday, but actually there is another royal celebration happening today, and all eyes on one of the littlest royals. Princess Charlotte turns 8. Take a look.
This morning, the countdown is on for the coronation, but there's one more royal celebration before the big day. Princess Charlotte turning 8 years old today, smiling, albeit with a few missing teeth in a picture snapped by Mom Kate. Over the weekend, the pair spotted out enjoying a mother-daughter birthday at the ballet, seeing Cinderella. And while Charlotte won't have an official role at the coronation, well, she's always found a way to grab our attention, just like little brother Louis. But older brother, 9-year-old Prince George, now the second in line to the throne, will serve as one of his grandfather's pages of honor.
Traditionally, the children or grandchildren of the monarch haven't had a role in the coronation. Charles was simply an onlooker at his mother's coronation.
A new BBC documentary sharing unseen photos of King Charles as a grandfather with George and Charlotte.
He is going to be very keen to include those younger generations and to make it look more like a family affair.
The whole young Wales family is expected to join the king on the Buckingham Palace balcony for that royal wave. Conspicuously absent, likely Prince Harry, who will reportedly be racing back home to California to celebrate his son Archie's 4th birthday. But it is largely a family affair. In the procession from Westminster Abbey back to the palace, the king's younger sister, Princess Anne, will ride on horseback behind the newly crowned king and queen.
So I said yes, not least of all, it solves my dress problem.
In a rare interview, Princess Anne maintains that Charles will keep the monarchy afloat despite a growing conversation about relevance.
The monarchy provides, with the Constitution, a degree of long-term stability.
Meanwhile, like so much in this coronation, the historic glittering robes that Charles will wear haven't been used in 70 years. Dusting those off, all part of these final days of preparation.
Final days of preparations and lots of new details. Those robes look extraordinary. Now, just in the last hour, we actually saw King Charles leave Buckingham Palace, head over to Westminster Hall. Queen Consort Camilla meeting him there. They will have a reception, meet with both houses of Parliament. But guys, it is a busy few days of engagement that they then host the Prime Minister of Australia later today. King Charles will join a video conference call with the Prime Minister of Canada. They still have a lot to do before Saturday's big day. Savannah, Stephen?
Oh my gosh, Molly, what a fun time to be in London, though. So exciting.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
To see more. Thanks, Molly.
Thanks so much.
Let's get to some other headlines from around the world. New numbers are shedding light on the human cost of the war in Ukraine.
Yeah, startling stuff here. NBC News foreign correspondent Raf Sanchez joins us now with more from Tel Aviv. Good morning, Raf.
Hey, Stephen. Hey, Savannah. Yeah, the White House is now saying Russia has suffered 100,000 casualties in Ukraine in just the last 5 months. Of those, 20,000 were killed in action. John Kirby, a spokesman for the National Security Council, says half the fatalities were from the Wagner mercenary group. The U.S. has not given any figures for Ukrainian casualties. In France, more than 100 police officers have been injured in clashes with May Day demonstrators. The protesters have been on the streets in their hundreds of thousands against President Macron's plan to raise the retirement age from 62 to 64. The French Prime Minister said the violence was unacceptable. And finally, a Welsh cyclist has completed a month-long ride across Africa, dodging elephants and snakes along the way. Matthew Myerscough, 37, cycled more than 1,700 miles from Mozambique to Namibia, covering between 50 and 120 miles each day. At one point, a snake fell from a tree almost on top of him, which he described as quite an interesting moment. Guys, I would say that is a pretty good example of British understatement.
Wow, that would be my sign to turn around.
I was thinking the same thing, but you just put that very well.
Yep.
Wow. All right, Rob, thank you so much. We're back now with a small election with big stakes. It's happening today in Adams Township, Michigan. It's a conservative town where former President Trump won by over 80% back in 2020. Today's vote is a recall election for the township's clerk, but it's also a test of the strength of Trump's false stolen election claims. NBC News reporter Gary Grumbach traveled to the town and has more.
In a town without traffic lights, with flags of all stripes, is where we met up with 4 women, best friends, who are fed up.
I just don't think anybody trusts our township anymore.
If people don't speak up and stop it, I don't know. I don't know.
Janice, Gail, Beverly, and Bonnie say election denialism has divided their community.
This is the kind of government that happened in Nazi Germany.
I don't understand why we're worried about the 2020 election. Trump won here. Can anybody realize that?
We're not going to listen.
If there was crime, and there was, you're a hypocrite.
With Township Clerk Stephanie Scott at the center of the storm.
This machine is suspect. We're turning into Venezuela.
Scott, who has peddled in conspiracy theories related to recent elections, is under criminal investigation by the state of Michigan after the state says she failed to have election equipment properly maintained and refused to hand over to the State Bureau of Investigations a piece of a voting machine. As a result, the state took away her ability to run elections in 2021. She spoke to NBC News in her first television interview, where she denied she did anything wrong.
We have a Secretary of State that started a witch hunt against me because I started asking questions about the elections.
Those questions, she says, revolve around voter rolls in Michigan.
All I was doing was trying to take on this clerk position, run fair elections, make sure the data was accurate, and I was doing my job.
A review of Scott's Facebook page also revealed repeated references to QAnon, an outlandish conspiracy theory popular among the far right.
When did you first hear of QAnon? It has nothing to do with anything on this election. It has absolutely nothing to do with this position.
The 4 women, lifelong conservatives themselves, don't buy Scott's claims of election fraud. So they went home to home, collecting hundreds of signatures to prompt a recall election.
If you don't like something, either shut up or do something about it.
And these ladies did something about it, selecting neighbor and friend Susie Roberts to run against Scott.
I've known Susie since she was born, and she's a go-getter. She's very trustworthy.
So why have you decided to run in this recall election?
Because someone had to. Someone had to do it.
What does a Susie Roberts run township clerkship look like?
The most boring township meetings ever. There'll be no drama.
Adams Township is just one example of a town turned upside down by election denialism and conspiracy theories. Just 19% of Republicans who voted for former President Trump in 2020 believed the election was legitimate. And those beliefs are taking center stage in the state, with the Michigan GOP recently selecting far-right election denier and conspiracy theorist Christina Caramo to run the state party's apparatus.
There's a bit of a state of chaos, I'd say, right now when it comes to the Republican Party in Michigan. It's unclear exactly which direction it's going to head going forward.
If you're going to lie, you have to be confronted about it, in my opinion. I mean, it's just wrong. And somehow this nation's got to turn that around, figure out how we make it wrong again, instead of letting them spew their grievances.
The women have a warning for others.
If it can happen in our little township, Adams Township, it can happen in your township, anybody's township.
Our thanks to Gary Grumbach for that report. Really, really strong reporting there and getting on the ground in that town. Well, a special prosecutor in Michigan is also reviewing whether to charge State Attorney General candidate Matthew DePerno. He lost the election. He is being accused of instigating a plan to improperly access voting machines and use them to dispute the 2020 results. So a lot going on there. Again, our thanks to Gary.
Certainly. Well, now to this story. Trans lawmaker Zoe Zephyr is teaming up with the American Civil Liberties Union of Montana to sue that state after she was censured.
That's right. The lawsuit claims the actions taken by Montana's Republican-led House of Representatives to silence Zephyr are in violation of her First Amendment rights. In a press release, Zephyr says the, quote, effort by House leadership to silence me and my constituents is a disturbing and terrifying affront to democracy itself. Now, Zephyr was banned from speaking on the floor after saying that GOP legislators had, quote, blood on their hands for supporting bills that would prohibit gender-affirming care for minors.
NBC News legal analyst Danny Ceballos is back now to help us break down this. Danny, welcome back. So walk us through the ACLU argument here, and do they actually have a chance of overturning that censure?
Here's the challenge. The Montana Constitution gives legislators the power to discipline their own legislators within the government. And there isn't much more in the Constitution other than that. And that's not different than the federal Constitution, which gives us general principles, and then the courts had to figure out what exactly those mean in specific situations. So you start with the fact that Montana's version of Congress can discipline its own members, but then you have the fact that governments, including state governments, cannot infringe upon the right to free speech. And so you have these conflicting principles coming up against each other. On the one hand, does free speech extend to override Montana's Congress folks the ability to censure their own? We shall see. I think the courts will have to decide. One thing to consider, and the complaint bears this out or alleges this, is that, look, people have said things like blood on their hands before. Political speech can be really, really contentious. You go back a couple hundred years, and in our own Congress, members of Congress have been caned. And by caned, I mean someone beat them with a cane. One Congress member beat another one with a cane almost to death. So we have a history of, let's just say, robust political debate within our houses. One could say that the speech or debate clause implies that if you're going to get nasty, the floor of a House of Congress is the place to do it.
Wow.
Well, that's interesting to hear.
Yeah.
I want to ask you another question about the federal Constitution and ask how this would sort of play in, because we've seen in previous cases this come into play, the fact that each House of Congress can make its own rules for its governing body. That's in our Constitution, Article 1, Section 5. That's been used previously. How big of an obstacle is that?
Exactly right. I mean, that's, if you're talking about the power of a body of Congress to make its own rules, does that extend to silencing members of Congress?
Right.
That is an interesting issue that has to be decided ultimately by the court in this situation. And by the way, it's not just the statement about the blood on the hands. There are other, at least in the complaint as alleged, there are other acts of defiance, I guess you could say, like holding a microphone above one's head. By the way, that's speech as well. Speech doesn't always have to be spoken. Speech can be any conduct that conveys a message. It could be an armband worn on your arm. That's the famous Tinker v. Des Moines school speech case. So speech is any kind of conduct that communicates some message. It can be verbal speech, or it can be raising a microphone over your head.
A lot of nuances involved here. And what's next for this lawsuit, and is it possible this could have implications outside of Montana?
Sure. I think it's a very fascinating legal issue whether or not a state constitution can empower a legislative body to censure free speech within the halls of its House. And I think this is the kind of thing that is good for the First Amendment, to develop the body of case law that tells us what kind of speech can be prohibited and what kind of speech cannot be infringed upon.
Fascinating stuff. We'll follow more. Danny, thank you.
As always, yes, thank you. Well, Monday marked the beginning of Brain Tumor Awareness Month. We are taking a closer look at new technology. This is pretty amazing. It could help slash the time it takes to get a diagnosis. That could save precious days. It could give some patients a new lease on life. Here's NBC News medical fellow Dr. Akshay Sayal.
At 56 years old, George Kalasa was living the American dream. A successful career in marketing, a happy marriage, and a sweet black lab named Charlie. But 1 year ago, his life changed forever.
You woke up one morning and you had lost the feeling in the left side of your body.
What was that like? Scary, because I did not understand what was going on.
They rushed to the hospital, and after a few tests,
we had learned that there were 3 tumors. There was one large tumor in the back that was about the size of a grapefruit, and there were 2 other smaller tumors. Those were not able to be operated on.
His brain surgeon, NYU Langone Health's Dr. Dan Oringer, told George that he likely had glioblastoma, the most deadly form of brain cancer. The average survival, just 8 months.
This really sucks. I don't want this.
It took 4 long weeks before George could start treatment as doctors waited for the tumor's genetic tests to come back.
I think I just cried every day for a week straight. One of the statistics that I found right away was a glioblastoma tumor can double in size in just 14 days. Time was not in our favor.
Frustrated after watching other patients go through the same thing, Oringer has been working on a solution.
It really is hard for clinicians and patients, I think, to wrap their heads around that waiting period.
But now, using groundbreaking artificial intelligence, Oringer invented a device called deep glioma that can predict the genetics of a tumor in less than 3 minutes, a process that can take up to 6 weeks. One recent study found that deep glioma was 93% accurate compared to the usual method.
We're here at NYU Langone Health, where we're about to head into a real-life brain surgery to see how they're using AI to help get patients a diagnosis faster.
So the plan for this operation is to take a small portion of this abnormality, image that, and use the artificial intelligence to predict the genetics. Microcyst?
I don't think I've ever seen human brain before like that.
It's magnificent. The texture of this feels pretty abnormal too, which is a bit suspicious that there's some tumor there.
That is the brain tissue that just came out. Yep. Inserted into the imager.
Now we're going to run deep glioma to forecast the mutations that underlie the tumor that we're looking at. This is a genetic forecast that the AI has created that gives us a strong indication that what we're looking at here is genetically similar to glioblastoma.
Dr. Schnuderl, you're a pathologist here. How big of a deal is this?
It's an incredible advancement. We can have a molecular diagnosis in 3 minutes instead of 3 weeks.
Further research is needed, but the hope is that this technology could help patients like George start treatment earlier, before the tumor has a chance to grow bigger.
I would say time is survival and time is quality of life.
But for George, living with cancer, every moment precious.
This disease is tough, but on the other hand,
your spirit is still there.
My spirit's here, and I'm going to be okay. No matter what happens, I'm going to be okay.
And our thanks to Dr. Sayal for that report. According to the Brain Tumor Foundation, there are nearly 1 million people in the U.S. living with a brain tumor, and nearly 30% of those are cancerous. Welcome back. We're now officially in the month of May, as you can tell by those Justin Timberlake memes we saw. It's going to be May. And with just a few weeks until Memorial Day, the summer travel season is just on the horizon as well.
Well, good news for frequent flyers. The FAA has new modified routes that it hopes will improve what has been a chaotic few years for the airline industry.
But the news does come as pilots for the nation's largest airline have voted to authorize a strike. NBC News correspondent Tom Costello covers aviation, and he has more from Reagan International Airport.
Yeah, good day. So listen, on that American Airlines Pilots Union, which has voted to authorize the strike, that's all it is right now, a vote to authorize the strike. No strike has been called yet. They're negotiating with the airline. Meanwhile, the FAA opening up these new high-altitude highways in the sky, and the hope is that it speeds along all of us as we travel this summer. At the nation's airports, the countdown is on to the quasi-official start of summer travel. And with passenger levels now at or exceeding pre-pandemic levels, the pressure is on to make that experience as smooth as possible. Along the East Coast, the FAA says 169 newly activated high-altitude flight routes should make travel on the nation's skyways more efficient. One of the biggest changes, less zigzagging in the air with more direct paths.
We time things down to the minute for a reason. And at the airport, every minute counts.
The FAA says the move should make trips between airports, including regional airports, more efficient by shaving off time, helping to save fuel for the airlines, and improving safety because the routes, which are mostly above 18,000 feet, use GPS technology rather than ground radar.
As you create new highways in the sky by using better technology, you de-stress the whole environment. The experience for the passenger gets better. you save fuel, you save emissions, and you save time. So I think it's a win-win for everybody.
It comes as both United and Delta have trimmed flights into New York and Washington to help with congestion and a shortage of air traffic controllers. At nearly a dozen American Airlines hubs on Monday, pilots on the picket line after their union voted overwhelmingly to authorize a strike as it negotiates a new contract.
What every pilot on this line here wants to have happen is that we come to an agreement on a contract.
But importantly, U.S. law prevents immediate action, so a strike is not imminent.
Looking at the weather, nothing has seems to be percolating yet.
Still, the biggest variable for all airlines year-round, the weather.
If we get a thunderstorm on the East Coast, particularly in New York or Atlanta, it's going to have a much larger impact with the number of aircraft that are going to be affected by that.
Yeah, the idea here is that these new highways in the sky could save us 6,000 minutes and about 40,000 miles every year. It's part of a 7-year effort the FAA has to modernize these highways in the sky, the routes, and make them more point-to-point using GPS technology. Couldn't come at a better time. Last year, 20% of all flights were delayed. Back to you.
Gosh, really couldn't come at a better time. Tom Costello, thank you so much.
Financial headlines now, starting with the latest in that high-profile legal back and forth between Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and Disney.
That's right. CNBC's Silvana Henao joins us with that and more. Hey, Silvana.
Hey, Savannah, Stephen. Yes, so the new board appointed by Florida Governor Ron DeSantis to oversee Disney's theme park property has voted to sue the media giant. The move comes just days after Disney filed a lawsuit against the board and DeSantis. Tensions have been rising between the two sides over the past year since Disney criticized the governor's so-called Don't Say Gay bill. DeSantis dissolved Disney's special tax district, which was created by the state in 1967. He appointed a new board to oversee a new district, but Disney acted to largely strip the board of any power. Disney is Florida's largest employer. The CEO of IBM expects to pause hiring thousands of people for positions that could be replaced by artificial intelligence in the coming years. He tells Bloomberg hiring will be slowed or suspended for non-customer facing roles such as human resources, which account for about 26,000 jobs at IBM. In February, he told the Financial Times AI will likely displace clerical white-collar work and has touted how the company's AI could improve efficiency and reduce costs. Apple rolled out the Apple Card savings account 2 weeks ago, and it appears to be highly popular with iPhone users. Forbes says the high-yield savings account saw nearly $1 billion in deposits during the first week after it launched, with roughly 240,000 accounts opened. The savings account is limited to Apple Card holders, and it allows them to deposit Apple Cash earned from the card directly into their account, guys. So any way to save is good.
Yeah, can't beat that. All right, Silvana, thank you.
Thank you. Welcome back. There is a new Barbie, but she's one straight from old Hollywood. Mattel is honoring the first Chinese-American film star, Anna May Wong, with a new doll as part of the company's Inspiring Women series. The new doll shows off Wong's signature bangs and a red gown inspired by a character in one of her films. It also comes with more information about Wong's accomplishments in the industry. Her career spanned decades on film and stage until she passed away in 1961. Wong's niece worked with Barbie for about a year developing the new doll. It is already on sale, but it is in demand. It's already sold out on Mattel's website at this point. But Stephen, I just love that it comes with that information about her career, so you can also learn while you're getting this toy, you know?
Cool, what a great gift if you can get a hold of them. They're already sold out.
I know. It's such a cool series, this Inspiring Women series of dolls.
Really is. All right, Savannah, thank you. Well, it was a night of high fashion, big names, and even some surprises at the Met Gala. This year's theme honored the late designer Karl Lagerfeld, and today's show anchor Chanel Jones was on hand to celebrate fashion's biggest night.
Last night in Manhattan, the hottest fashions in the spotlight.
It brings all the stars together. He graces the stakes with the fashion.
The first Monday in May, circled on every celebrity's calendar.
I want to see everybody.
You know, this is my 20th Met Gala.
The stars putting their best fashion foot forward at the Met Gala, serving major looks and bringing the drama to the museum's iconic steps.
Tell me who you guys are wearing. Gucci.
Gucci.
Gucci. I'm wearing Chloe.
designed by Gabriella and also designed by Carl. Chanel is a couture spring-summer from 1988.
The theme this year is Karl Lagerfeld, a line of beauty. So expect to see a lot of Chanel. Not this Chanel, but the other Chanel. You'll see both classic and, of course, over the top. I have to go get my spot. Vogue editor-in-chief Anna Wintour stepping out in style, along with this year's Gala co-chairs, including Penelope Cruz, Dua Lipa, and Roger Federer.
Say hi to Savannah. Hi, Savannah.
All getting the party started, wearing their Monday best in honor of Karl. For people who didn't know Karl Lagerfeld, how would you describe him? What did he mean to you?
He was a total genius.
Lagerfeld was at the helm of some of the biggest fashion houses during his 65-year career, including Fendi and Chanel.
He was a unique presence on the world stage of fashion.
His timeless designs and feminine silhouettes on display.
I hope everybody made him proud. People in heaven like, yes! No.
Celebrities reimagining some of those Chanel classics.
It's a marriage between Versace and Karl Lagerfeld.
From the signature tweed,
Giving some Chanel tweed moments,
to the black and white ensembles, to that iconic bow. Stars bringing full body glamour.
We decided to make our hair the headpiece.
Usher, can we see the shoes really quickly? Can I see these gloves? And dazzling with sequins, feathers, and pearls. Fan favorite Kim Kardashian making her grand entrance in custom Schiaparelli, dripping in 50,000 freshwater pearls. It was an all-out show on this year's white carpet.
I think we have an unveiling happening.
Including some unforgettable tributes to the late designer's beloved cat, Choupette.
Did he just purr to us? A little Doja Cat, anyone? You have to tell us about this bag.
Yes, it's Judith Lieber. It's a pink Choupette cat. You know, that's an ode.
But it was Jared Leto, known for his daring looks, who once again turned heads with the perfect tribute.
I could just imagine him looking down with a big smile on his face, seeing Choupette in all his glory.
And of course, the party wouldn't be complete without some surprises. Serena Williams and Karlie Kloss both taking to the carpet, debuting new baby bumps.
Congratulations!
Thank you so much.
I love so much that you're walking the red carpet with your little bambino. What does that feel like?
This is the first time I'm sharing my news, so it's so special. I can't imagine a more special place.
But perhaps the biggest jaw-dropping moment of the night was Rihanna, the queen of the Met Gala, arriving fashionably late to make her long-awaited return to the museum steps.
They have been out here since almost 5 o'clock this morning. Wow. Everybody's waiting for you.
Wow, well, thank God I came. And when we honestly, thank God you guys waited, too.
Thank you. You look beautiful.
The singer, who's pregnant with her second child with A$AP Rocky, undeniably stealing the show in a stunning flower-covered gown by Valentino.
We decided to wait, stick it out, and it was worth it. Hi, Rihanna. I think she's my best dressed of the evening.
All of it making for another night of pure magic at the Met.
Lots of magic there. That was Chanel Jones with that report. It's not clear yet how much money they actually raised at last night's Met Gala. The proceeds go to fund the Costume Institute at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. But I didn't know last year they actually raised $17 million. Wow. So we'll see what they get this year.
Oh my goodness.
Well, that's going to do it for this hour of Morning News Now.
But the news continues right now.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.